When you really start looking at mental illness and mental health, you start realizing that it's also something that is entirely different than other medical conditions. Let's face it, if you have a broken arm in Sacramento, then you also have a broken arm in Des Moines, and you also have a broken arm in Reykjavik, and you have a broken arm if you should go to Singapore or if you should go to Auckland. It's going to be a broken arm, and that's how it's going to be diagnosed. This is also true with many other medical conditions, but simply not true with psychiatric conditions. In other words, if you show up with a certain symptom profile or way of behavior or way of being or speaking in a particular area of the country, you might be diagnosed with something. And if you went to a different area of the country, you might not be diagnosed. In fact, if you went to a different doctor, you might not be diagnosed. If you went to a different diagnostician, you might not be diagnosed. It's actually quite arbitrary and variable. What I've noticed is that it's a function of the diagnoser, meaning the diagnoser is somebody who, when they're uncomfortable with what it is that you're presenting and you're outside of the bounds of what they're used to seeing, they have a tendency to call you abnormal. Or if you say a particular set of buzzwords like racing thoughts or impending doom or intrusive memories or those kinds of things, or depressed crying spells or any of those kinds of hearing voices, then this will spark them to believe that you have a particular diagnosis in and of themselves, and they'll fill out the rest of the criteria to actually ascertain that you do have that diagnosis. When in fact, that diagnosis was also created rather arbitrarily during the creation of the Bible of psychiatric diagnosis, often known as the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, or the DSM.